Hello, 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 everybody. It is so wonderful to see all of your beautiful non-existent faces. My name is Connie. I am your GM and executive producer of Transplanar RPG. My pronouns are they, he, and she, and I'm so excited for this episode. The name of this episode is Miserable Beloved, and we will see why very soon. If you don't know already, Transplanar RPG is an all-transgender, person of color-led, 100% homebrew Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition live stream actual play campaign set in an original non-colonial anti-orientalist world. You can find me on Twitter at @byconniechong and on Tumblr at @DandDaddyIssues. I am also a professional GM with Magpie Games' curated play program, and I'm going to pass along introductions to Devin.
Hello, everyone. My name's Devin. I use them pronouns. You can find me on our Discord chat on a Discord server. Join the Discord. I don't know. Somebody should post that in the chat. I'm too flustered. Oh, I can't.
Damn it,
Um,
Erica always beats me.
Erica's just on it. Anyway, you can find me on our Discord server. It's a really fun place, a really nice community full of really great people. We post memes. We post theories about the campaign, and also pictures of our pets. Post pictures of your pets. And I'll pass it on to C.
Oh, hello. My name is C. I use they, them pronouns. I am a dancer, digital artist, and Twitch streamer now. You can find me on Twitch on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Fridays at 2 p.m. Central Time on my channel pi_sharp. I just hit affiliate, so I'm going to have some new emotes in chat and be doing mostly art, but also sometimes video games. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at pi_sharp_art or on Tumblr at pi-sharp. I play Oka. I am ready. Max, who the hell are you? I don't remember
Am
you
I?
this last time.
Yeah, I'm Max. I go by they, them pronouns. And I am a textile artist, kind of. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Starchmonger, and also on Instagram as Stitchmonger, where I like sew shit. Yeah. Who's Erica New Girl?
Hello, I am Erica, she, her pronouns, and I play Vinox Scherzo, sorcerer, elf with draconic ancestry, and you can find me at Erica New Girl, including here on Twitch. Erica New Girl, I'm the #1 solitaire player on Twitch. Believe it or not, no one is better
What
than
an
me.
accomplishment.
You can check the VODs, okay? Check the VODs. And that, come give me a follow. I like to have fun, and I'm doing a charity stream next week. Charity stream, all proceeds will go to Trans Lifeline. So come hang out Friday, February 19th at 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will pass it on back
To me. Thank you, Erica. Great. So some exciting news regarding our programming. After a meeting, our cast has decided to refocus our energies on our main campaign, which is this. So congratulations, you're all winners. You're tuning into the one piece of program we're going to keep doing moving forward, meaning, unfortunately, we'll no longer be doing any peripheral streams. This includes our video game nights, our art streams, our one-shot wonders, and on-stream sub-gaming nights. Sub-gaming nights will still occur on the last Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. U.S. time Central, just offline and exclusive to our Discord. So if you're a sub and you haven't joined our Discord yet, join it. You'll get access to exclusive character journals as well as the chance to game with the cast once a month. That means all that y'all have to remember is that Saturdays at 3 p.m. U.S. Central Time is our main D&D campaign. We will occasionally still have special streams, like tomorrow we have our special Valentine's Day stream. Sunday, February 14th at 4 p.m. U.S. Central Time, C is going to be GMing a special one-shot of Thirsty Sword Lesbians. We're going to be very thirsty, we're going to be very swordsy, and very lesbian. So join us for that. I believe it's the heroes fight against the horsemen of the apocalypse. The Horsewomen of the Apocalypse. Is going to be a fun gay time, so tune in at 4 p.m. U.S. Central Time tomorrow on Valentine's Day for that. And I'm going to pass things along now to C.
Excellent. I'm going to do the thing that you all know, which is that I'm going to tell you about our amazing promo partnerships with other trans, queer, and BIMPOC-led streams, pods, and projects by using our !promo partners command in chat at any point. And I think Margaret Catterdev is in here right now, who is one of our promo partners. So hello. We are also super excited to say that our official merch store is up and running. You know it. You love it. You can use the merch command to get to our Redbubble page. Get yourself whatever the hell you want that has our logo on it. We would love you. But Erica will do now the honors of our donor thanks.
We do love to acknowledge everyone who has subbed, gift subbed, resubbed, donated, and or given bits during episode 5. Those folks are Band Nerd Leo, D and Daddy Issues, Dungeon Meowster Fofos, It's Probably Okay, and Knights of the Bantam. Thank you so much, everybody. That was a much smaller list. My lungs thank you. Also, as you can see on our overlay, we do have a 25 sub goal. 5 subs grant the party a point of collective inspiration. 15 subs gets us an auto crit that anyone, including the GM, can use, and hitting 25 subs triggers a PC backstory flashback. GM Connie will roll a d4, and whoever the number lands on will be pulled into a flashback scene of the GM's choice. Max, could you please catch us up on all the wild stuff that's going on in this campaign right now?
I would love to. As a reminder, you can always get to our recap document by using !recap in our chat, or by going to bit.ly/transrecap. If you don't want to read that, let me tell you what happened last time. Rev doesn't like the idea that she's a paragon, and she certainly doesn't want to give up her hate for a certain dog-headed man to receive the Raven Queen into her body. She flees the Weavespun nest, leaving the party to chase her down and try to convince her to fulfill her role as a paragon for the good of, the whole world. She's not convinced, but she does agree to tag along with the group, if only because Dewey's bound to attract the myriad. The party runs into the trio from Nabal again. They begin a duel to the death. Oka and V take them down to 0 hit points, but they can't die, remember? And they won't stop fighting. Oka manages to intimidate them into leaving them and the nest alone. Battered, the group checks into a tavern for the night. V goes in to check in on Rev and telepathically shares a memory with her, the moment Siebert betrayed her. Rev is moved by it and invites V in to return the gesture. And we're caught up to this episode.
Ooh, is that lesbians in the air tonight? I hope it is. And now, of course, Devin, why don't you tell us about the title of this episode?
Of course. So, as always, we take the titles of our episodes from queer, trans, and or BIMPOC poets, and sometimes lyricists. So the title of today's episode, Arc 2, Episode 6, is Miserable Beloved, from the poem Project for a Fainting by Brenda Shaughnessy?
Yes,
Shaughnessy.
I believe so, yep.
The full verse reads, "The world is lighter with her recklessness. A handkerchief is so wet it is clear. To you, my withered place, this frumpy home. Nearer to the body than to evening, miserable beloved."
Thank you, Devin. And now moving on to the session itself. As always, some content warnings for our campaign and this subsequent session may include self-harm, suicide, fantasy violence, death of loved ones, emotional trauma and baggage, cults and cult-like behavior, anxiety and panic attacks described in detail, poverty and classism, a refugee crisis, natural disasters, and economic injustice. So if at any point you need to take care of yourself by stepping away or anything like that, totally understandable. Let's begin. The year is 398 AW. 7 years before the end of the world. And you are dying. Your blood sizzles against the clay. Your breath comes out in limp, haggard gasps. Your back braces against a jagged rock, a porous claw of the Badlands digging into your scapula. This is not how you wanted to spend your honeymoon. The girl with the crooked laugh. The girl who could tell the future. The girl you are horribly, desperately in love with holds you in her arms. She's crying. Her mouth is moving. You look past her, your mind turning pale, and lock eyes with the dog-headed man. He's smiling, all canine and saliva and predation, and his hand is wet with your blood. You somehow manage to say, A deal's a deal. Let her go. And the myriad says, Oh, but Duchess Stiltwalker, now that I have conveniently rearranged your guts, I can do what I want. You stare at him, not comprehending. We had a deal. My life for hers. You agreed. Don't mistake me for a devil, Mist. No law binds me. You can't feel your body anymore. The after is beckoning. I'd say sorry, but I'm really not. Boss man wants her dead. Well, boss woman, I guess. You understand. And then he moves forward, and he kills her. And you die. V. Rev's memory comes to an end, and you're left standing there, in this tiny room in a cramped tavern on the Black Tongue. Your mouth feels coppery, like it's been recently filled with blood, but it's not. What do you do?
V, I'm crying just a little bit. I'm wiping away some tears, both from my own memory and from this memory I just experienced. So this, my friend, is what the myriad did to you and your loved one.
Yes.
I can understand why you carry so much hate in your heart. But you don't have to carry that memory alone any longer. And if you can trust and at least give me some of that hate in your heart to carry for you, I've given you some of Sievert. Perhaps you can trust that justice will happen when it happens. If the myriad finds Dewey, I will do everything I can to make sure that your justice is received.
I've never told anyone about that.
I thank you for sharing it, for allowing me in to see it. I too have never showed anybody what Sievert that moment had done to me. I've been carrying that memory alone for these past 7 years.
7 years. Yeah. Funny. What? You've never even told people you travel with? I thought the four of you were best friends.
No. They saw the chaos that Sievert and I produced together, but they didn't quite ask, and I didn't quite tell them.
That's one way of looking at it. Loophole. V, thank you. This feels so stupid and silly when I lay it out like this. Like this was something I carried inside me for so long. Now that I put it in the light, it feels so small.
That is the truth around what we carry in our heart. It can feel the big things all of a sudden get so small, but then as you get older, as an elf, you can see that the little things grow bigger when you share them.
Rev looks down. Are the two of you, like, touching?
We were holding hands while sharing memories. I don't know if we haven't let go unless.
Yeah, that's true. You're still holding hands. Okay. Rev looks down at your joined fingers. Her fingers very cold and dry against yours. Like they're the fingers of a dead woman, basically. You know now for sure. That she looks at you with her like piercing yellow eyes. Yeah, I'm going that far. And she just says, I'll help you with Sievert. You help me with the myriad.
That sounds like a deal I'm willing to honor.
Good.
Free of charge, even.
V, do you quick question out of character. How do we feel about your character getting kissed?
Sure.
Okay. Rev leans in and kisses you on the mouth. And then she draws away and she says, then it's sealed.
V, her pale yellow, very, very pale skin, turns a slight pink, and she replies, "It is sealed."
Okay. Does that feel like a good end to that scene, Erica?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay. Are you like, is that a court custom? Are you going to try to like look into what that was, or are you just going to let that be?
I think V is too flustered to really like go into it. I think she's a little I mean, from the emotional thing of like sharing this memory, receiving memory, and now that, I think V is just like, what is happening inside of her head?
Yeah, it was a really intimate experience. Like at summer camp when you're like telling each other about like your horrible like parents or whatever, and then like you make out, you know, and you're like, what the hell was that? Okay. Right? Everyone's had that experience.
Carter, your experience
Summer
is not universal.
Yeah,
Not universal.
All right, let's do this long rest, shall we?
Yes.
Okay.
Does V come back?
Yeah, V, do come back to Dewey's room.
V's gonna do a little happy jig back to her room and like walk in and just
You click your heels together in the air.
yes, right before I walk back into Dewey's room.
You are in no condition to be sneaking into other people's room. Come, let's go to bed.
Dewey, everything is fine, friend. Everything is good.
Yeah, I'm
Life
sure it's
is-
fine.
You know, the Dewey. Enough about me, friend. Fine, let's just go to bed.
Yeah.
Great. The two of you share those tiny twin-sized beds. And Oka and Manaya, I think you established last session that you were also just going to sleep. Okay. That night, the nightmare comes for you again, classically. But perhaps for you, V, it feels less horribly insurmountable. And the four of you wake up on the dot at 8 a.m. It's time. Time to head to green open water to get answers about Manaya's questions about her parents. What do the four of you do anything before you like set out, or are we ready to like get going?
Is Rev coming with us?
Yes, I think that was the assumption, right? Is that okay with the rest of the PCs?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think V is just gonna be like a little bit shy towards Rev now. V still doesn't exactly know what just happened and is a little flustered, not her normal self, I think.
Yeah.
I think maybe during breakfast, or like while eating at the same table, you know, Oka will kind of like look at V from across the table and like pull a little bit of like hash full of like coffee at her. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? You haven't spoken since you got down here. Are you broken? Are you broken?
V starts to blush a little bit more. Nothing happened. I
You
had
look kind of red. Do you have a fever? And Oka like leans across the table, you know, like puts their palm against her forehead.
Oka, everything is fine. Just please don't. This is V's actual words coming out of her mouth.
Oka, you could fry an
Voice.
egg against that skin.
Yeah, just redder and redder and redder. She's starting to look like a tiefling.
No, okay. I think you need some congee, like some more. I'm gonna get you another bowl. I don't have any gold though, so I'm gonna well. We need another bowl of congee over here, like with some herb stuff.
Yes, of course, young master. Here. And like the older innkeep hobbles over with ladles more congee, you know. Oh, young woman, are you okay? You look a little burnt.
Why does everybody keep asking me questions? I just want to finish my breakfast.
Dewey's like looking at V and then Rev and then V and then Rev and then like purposely looking down at his food.
Rev is very calmly eating congee. On the other side, it like looks completely unruffled, undisturbed.
All of a sudden, V just explodes. Nothing happened. Okay, everybody, nothing happened. Everything is fine.
V, if you keep shaking the table, you're going to spill your breakfast.
V takes a big sigh and just be like, no more questions for today. Please just let me eat my food.
Oka kind of like nudges me, you know? And it's like, I thought I had problems.
Me? Problems? I don't have problems. I only have solutions, friend. And right now the solution is less questions. I haven't been this uncomfortable since I was before a tribunal in Jukat. Never mind.
Okay. And sort of on that, maybe the four of you finish eating your breakfasts and it's time to go. Rev also looks like a little, I mean, now that you look at her, you realize completely like, yeah, she looks pretty undead. She looks pretty pale, even for like, you know, for like a gray-skinned drow. And there's like a perpetual look of maybe exhaustion kind of in her eyes that now looking upon her becomes more apparent. I'm not sure if the four of you know if she sleeps. You're not sure how it works for someone who's undead. But it's time to go. The four of you leave this tavern. There's like old folks sitting around that hole in the floor, and as you leave, one of them goes, "Got a snapper!" And like pulls up a big like fish on the end of it. The four of you exit, and
That makes a face.
It smells real fishy in here.
Oka pats Manai on the back.
Don't.
Come on,
It's
you
nothing.
can do it. It's time.
Cool. Out of character, could y'all hear C when they were whispering? Okay, so
No.
Okay, noted.
cool.
Noted.
So just like even if you're whispering, be like Oka whispers da 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 or whatever.
Stage whisper.
Yeah, stage whisper, exactly. So the four of you exit the tavern and you make your way back to the elbow of the Black Tongue that this little like way station village or town or hamlet is built upon. And yeah, you make your way down the ramp that wraps itself around the tavern all the way to the bottom. At the bottom, you sort of maybe stand aside to like an elder being pushed along a wheelchair by someone who looks like pretty young as they move their grandma or whoever it might be up the ramp. But as you look around, the sunless sky becomes lighter and lighter. There's that smell of just like salt-drenched soil that's like swimming in your nostrils, and the sound of dragonflies and gnats and insects chirping all around you, and in the distance, the distant braying of birds and other crows and ravens and whatnot. The four of you make your way back to the Black Tongue. Is there anything you want to do before you set back out onto the river toward green open water?
I feel like in most sort of taverns there would probably be like a place for letters to be delivered.
That is true. Based on what you know, I'm not sure if you've been to the court before. You can try to look around at some of the more administrative appearing buildings to see if there's like a courier service.
I think either way, even if Oka found one, they would just kind of stare at it for a long time before like noticing that the party was drifting away and running.
Oh.
They wouldn't actually send anything. Yeah.
I didn't really catch your tail end of what you said.
Okay. They would only just stare at the building or at the courier service. They wouldn't actually go into it.
Sounds good, yeah. You see what appears to be maybe like an administrative, maybe like a mayoral building or like a building for where the leader of this village might be, because you see like people in like more like, everyone's sort of dressed in, as far as you can tell, like plain looking like black and maybe occasional green and brown robes. But here, their robes are gilded a little with like golden thread and silver thread coming in and out of this building that's sort of on like a lofted platform above like a muddy part of the river. that's like half sunken in. And you see, people moving in and out, some people clutching scrolls in their hands. Presumably this is where like mail might come in, might come out. You stare at it, but the rest of the party, including Rev, goes on without you. You sort of startle, remembering your purpose here. And you turn away from it and you don't do anything there? Okay. How about the rest of you?
I think V is just looking at Rev and trying to get a. It's like the whole thing. Like, how do they feel about me? What was that last? Like, V's just like in her mind and studying Rev's body language as much as possible.
Would you like to try to roll insight?
I was just about to ask.
Go for it.
No, roll gaydar. Roll
your gaydar. Roll your insight gaydar.
Shit, what's. Oh man, I only rolled a 4.
We have 1 point of collective inspiration that perhaps you might use for this.
I feel like I'm getting some looks like, come on, it's for gay love, everybody. It's for gay love.
You could
well
do it.
spent.
Okay. Screw it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna use collective inspiration.
Okay, go for it.
19.
Hey, that's gay love well spent. Okay, so V, as you look up at Rev, who's like sort of walking beside you, you see she's got her cloak, her hood pulled over her head to sort of shield her from like the light, the sunless light, this gray light just pouring down from like the mist and fog and cloud covered sky. Look up at her. She looks as kind of inscrutable as always. She's always got this like stony mask on, it appears. It's very rare that she laughs or frowns or smiles or looks confused. But when it does happen, it's sort of like lightning crackling across the sky. It like splits her face. And right now, her face is pretty even. It looks undisturbed. But she notices you looking at her. She looks down. You see her raise her eyebrows, and you swear she like smiles just a little bit. Oh, V!
Erica, you're so flustered. It's so cute.
This is like my first D&D crush.
Ooh.
Like, how to deal with this right now? Yeah, I think. Is it hot in here? V just takes note and maybe blushes a little more. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, you just described whenever it does change, it's like a crackling thunder, and it seems our friend V has been struck straight in the heart with the gay lightning bolt.
V just needed to be topped a little. Okay, sounds good. Anyway, we're buttering y'all up for Thirsty Sword Lesbians tomorrow.
Save that shit for tomorrow.
Dewey, Manaya, do the two of you pure angels in this sea of heathens do anything?
Dewey's like, his mind wouldn't normally go there, but this is pretty obvious, and he's like, because he doesn't know what happened in that room. Trying to mind his own business, but like, what the hell's going on?
Okay. What about you, Manaya? Are you focused on the mission at hand?
Yeah, she's pretty focused. She doesn't really catch up on these things very easily. So after catching up Rev on making sure she knows everything, like boating and all that kind of stuff, she just kind of hangs back and is excited to be around water.
Sounds
she still
good.
hasn't gotten over it.
Totally. Yeah. Manaya, I mean, the closest comparison you have is probably V is kind of acting similar to those like girls and boys and youths at the docks, whenever like the ruffled turn with Doc and Babatunde would like, like say like nice things to them. V's kind of acting like the girls that Babatunde talks to sometimes, like very like flustered, But that's, I think from your lens, that's sort of what it might appear as. Okay. It's time to sail upon the river of gay. So the 5 of you pack into Moss Crawler, which has been kept very well overnight. You also notice it's been like polished a little, sanded down a bit, and cleaned from your travels. Though the dockmaster does not require an extra fee for that. The 5 of you pack into it. With Rev, it's kind of, again, it's pretty cramped with her, and you probably want to have her like strategically because she's pretty big.
You put Dewey in the middle and Manaya and Rev at the back, and
yep.
Oka V at the front.
Yep, there we go. Yeah, exactly. It works. And with that, the 5 of you go sailing down the Black Tongue. And I think at this
we don't have
point,
a sail, so we can't really actually. Sorry.
Manaya, I swear to God, if you
I
try to
actually have
correct
resistance
my
to poison.
incorrect language about,
Siri and Manaya
I have
debate the
resistance to
semantics.
poison.
I will throttle you until
I
you
have-
turn into soup, Oka. Anyway, I think it's time we have Soka, Soup Oka. I think it's time that we have a relationship building montage on our way to green open water. Yes, see?
Oh no, I was just being
Facetious? Yeah, okay.
As always.
So I think we're gonna decide who goes first.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
Okay, so C, you will become our first roller. Pick an initiator.
I want to talk to Rev.
Okay. Sounds good. Rev will initiate. So roll a D100 twice. This is the fun part. What kind of relationships are we gonna build?
77
Okay.
and 19.
77 and 19. Okay, your 2 options. The initiator chooses. The 2 options are cooking together and admitting defeat. I, as Rev, am going to choose admitting defeat. Okay, I'm going to highlight that to make sure I don't reuse it. Okay. So establishing the scene, let's say it's a couple of maybe half an hour after we set out. You know, once we've hit a rhythm of stroking the oar, passing it along. You notice Rev has her whip out, and she seems to be sharpening the spikes that have been studded to the length of the whip. And she's sharpening it with a tiny stone, each individual spike, to make it as sharp as possible. And at that moment, Rev sort of glances up at you, Oka, with a shadow over her face from the hood. And she just goes, Oka, I never got a chance to say this, but you were really good with that face stealer thing.
Well, right. That feels like 100 years ago now. Thanks. It is my job good at the face stealer.
You're kind of cutting in and out, C, from that. Do you want to just get rid of that filter in OBS so we can hear you completely? We just do a
Sure.
mute game.
Sure.
Yeah. You can just go to your mic, right-click filters. Yep.
I'm going.
And you can just click on the eye icon next to that filter to just hide it.
Okay, completely. Okay. It has been hidden.
Okay.
It's been had.
So whenever I talk, could you remember to mute?
Okay.
All right, we're going to do the mute game.
I think you're actually
Sounds
fine.
okay.
It's okay?
Yeah.
Great. Awesome.
Okay, good. I mean, it's my job to be good at removing a face from a face stealer, so to speak. Where did you make that yourself?
This
Oka's fingers are their monster hunter fighter brain is I want to look at that thing.
This is Thorn. She belonged to someone really important to me.
I have never personally been one to name weapons, but I guess that's cool.
That trick you did with the tattoo on your arm. You don't have a name for that?
Oh, I mean, I guess all right, fine. I do have a name for it. It's Culling Edge.
Culling
Is what
Edge.
it's called. I didn't make the name. Ravi did, but that's what it's called.
That's not a bad name. Hey. She sort of braces her. She finishes sharpening off the last spike. She sort of leans against the wood of the canoe, cocks her head at you, and you see an expression of she's sizing you up a little. You want to arm wrestle?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Why? You have something, feel like, you know, you're not impressed enough with my work with the Tide Wolves yesterday?
I suppose I'm just wondering how far impressed I should be. And she rolls up a sleeve, showing a bulging bicep, places her elbow on a plank, and holds out her
Oh no
hand.
no! Oh no no! Not while we're moving. And Benaiah pulls the boat over.
Manaya! Okay, come on. What, you think just because you're big and strong like Manaya, right?
It's okay, Manaya. This won't take very long. Roll strength.
Fuck! I'd like to use a point of
Okay, you have 2 points of inspiration, so use one for this pissing contest. Okay, what'd you get?
An 18.
Is that your final answer? Okay, it's a tie. So Oka, the two of you are like straining against each other, right? Like both of your muscles are like straining as you know. I think a bit of sweat comes down your temples.
Just because I'm shorter than you doesn't mean that I'm weak.
Okay.
There's obviously some pent up anger here.
Yep. And Rev goes, "Who said anything about being short? That's your insecurity."
Yeah, well, I really thought that you were trying to say some shit based on, oh, this wouldn't take so long.
I gotta admit, Oka, you're putting up more of a fight than I thought you were gonna.
I like slam my foot down on her foot.
Okay, with that she goes, ah, and her brief loss of concentration means you pin her hand down.
Jeez! By Mahu, you're gonna break a plank off the boat!
What?
You hear like the grain of the wood splinter a little.
I believe that was a wager of 20 gold pieces, wouldn't we all say?
I don't think we wagered any gold on that farce of a competition.
I wouldn't call it a farce.
No one heard a bet. No one heard a bet, did they?
Okay,
You're
you don't
muted.
have any money.
I know, I'm trying to amend that, Dewey. Thank you for blowing up my spot.
I heard 30 gold pieces.
Thank you, V, darling, my favorite person on this boat, actually.
30. Really, V, darling. Rev is saying that kind of like sarcastically. Copying Oka.
But don't worry, I will cover both sides. Here you go. Okay, here is 30 gold pieces.
Okay.
Rev's got the whip and you are whipped.
Oka oddly is like, takes the gold and is like, is there a plot here? Is this a prank? Are you two pulling a prank on me? V, after what happened yesterday, you want to prank me again?
Just take the
Is this a
victory.
joke?
Just take the victory. Be gracious about it. And Rev sits back down, like rubbing out her like sore bicep.
I'm gracious about it. And then Oka turns around and is like,
Great. I think that's the end of that scene. So it's time for the next scene. Do you think you can mute yourself? Thank you. That means I am the initiator. I become the roller, and I get to pick an initiator. So I'll let Manaya, Dewey, or V volunteer. Who wants to do a scene with Rev?
I'll do a scene with Rev.
Okay, great. The concerned best friend of V. Okay, so I'm gonna roll. Wow, I get to roll for myself. Well, you know what? I don't like rolling for myself. Dewey, roll a D100 twice.
30.
30?
And-
Okay.
Yep. And 3.
3. Okay, roll the 31 again, because we already did that.
$32.
Okay, great. So your two options, Dewey, are an embarrassment and sharing joy.
Doesn't seem like she's got so much joy to share right now, so maybe embarrassment.
Sounds good. All right. So Dewey, how many minutes or hours after the arm wrestling contest does this scene take place?
Oof. A couple of hours.
Okay, sounds good.
He's intimidated.
Maybe it's during y'all's like lunch break. Maybe you like dock the boat by like a small village and take a lunch. Okay.
Okay.
So Dewey, you see Rev sort of sitting alone for now, and she is sharpening her dagger. She seems to have a plethora of daggers to sharpen. What do you do?
I'm gonna strike up a conversation from like a little bit of a distance, you know.
Just within dagger throwing distance.
So Rev, was it? What do you want from the myriad?
Probably the same thing you want from him, which is to kill him.
I don't have any. I mean,
isn't he an assassin sent specifically to kill you by your former employers? You're trying to tell me you don't have anything against him?
No, I don't. I have issues with the URL, and I don't like him because he's kind of sadistic.
The URL. Tell me more about them.
I worked there, and now I don't, and they don't like that.
Worked there doing what?
I used to invent shit, and then it became not worth it. Didn't like what they were doing with the stuff that I built.
What kinds of things? Like those steamboats or whatever that they're always building in Uhanahi?
Things like that. But more lethal as things went on.
She raises an eyebrow at that. Weapons?
I didn't want to.
Nod slowly. The myriad, as far as I understand, is something of an independent contractor. I don't know if he was working for the same people when he wronged me as the people that he's working for now. What I do know is that that thing has no conscience. He's not a man, he's a monster. The only thing he cares about is his own sick pleasure. And getting what he can get from the people that hire him. I don't know what kind of deal you struck up with him or what kind of twisted relationship you have with him. But take it from someone who's been fucked over by that guy. You can't trust him.
I keep wanting to believe that you're probably right. He's not just gonna do this exchange of information and then let me go. But I don't really have a choice right now. Well, maybe I do now that you're here.
She leans in, pulls the hood off just a little bit, because like the dappled shadows from the leaves overhead sort of cover the sunless light from being on her. And she says, "Well, you're a paragon too, aren't you? As far as I'm concerned."
Me?
That's what Oka said.
Oka says a lot of I don't know. Oka says a lot of stuff.
The evidence seems pretty difficult to refute, Dewey. When a god talks inside your brain, would make any non-believer believe. Listen, Dewey, if you really are a paragon or whatever the fuck, you should have the power to do whatever the hell you want. Especially Galtanger. I mean, she... And then she just sort of like drops off. What do you say?
I mean, I don't want to be beholden to this myriad, but it also seems like you're. It also seems like maybe you don't like you want to do this, but you're also obligated to. It doesn't sound like you are free to choose what you want to do either.
The only thing I choose, Dewey, is vengeance.
Okay. Maybe you do want. All right.
What do you want? What are you getting out of all of this? Aside from protection that you might not even need from some corporate entity that wants you dead. Why are you doing this? What do you owe these people?
I don't owe them anything. I owe it to the world to undo all the harm that I did when I was working with them. That's all I want.
Good. Then undo it.
Trying. But, things got in the way.
Are you like gesturing at
like
the
everything.
general fucked up everything? Yeah. Rev pulls her hood back down, leans back against the trunk, and just says, I know things can get hard, Dewey, but just be careful that doesn't turn into an excuse for you to run away from what's hard.
Yeah.
Do you think this knife is sharp enough?
Honestly, I think you could take him, no matter what you were armed with.
Can I see one of your feathers?
No, that's good. And I back away.
Okay, cool. I think maybe that's the end of that scene. After lunch, the four of you pile back onto Mosscrawler. Dewey. It's time for you to pick an initiator. Who's it gonna be? Manaya, V.
Manaya.
Sounds good. So, Dewey, once again, why don't you roll a D100 twice?
$83 and $90.
Oh, wow, okay. 83 is staying up late. 90 is seeking advice. So, Manaya, you choose.
I don't think we're very likely to stay up late, so let's do seeking advice.
Sounds good to me. All right, Manaya, tell us where we are and start the scene.
Let's say we've pulled over. Yeah, we pulled over. Maybe it's like later in the evening. We've maybe stopped for dinner. I don't know how long it's going to take to get to Green Open Water, but
Okay. You're probably gonna get there that night, like
Okay.
pretty late. If you push on, you can try to take another break, and then you get there kind of early in the morning, or you can just push on, get there at night, maybe get a tavern there.
let's decide that after the scene.
Okay, sounds good.
So breaking for dinner. Maybe we don't find a town. Maybe we just like find a place to land, and maybe Dew and Manaya are setting up the stuff to get the food ready and everything. Dewey's handling a lot of the cooking supplies. Manaya's handling a lot of the food. And Manaya doesn't look at Dewey, but is definitely addressing him. When she says, "Hey, can I ask you something?"
Yeah?
You also have family that you haven't seen in a long time. I What do I say when I meet them again? if I meet them again. What would you say?
Oh, uh, you're coming to me for advice on what to say to other people, huh?
Well, you're the only family person here.
Yeah, maybe. I just want to tell my family I'm sorry, but maybe that's not maybe that's not the first thing that you say to them. Kind of unique circumstances.
Well, I'm only alive because one of my mothers is... Maybe apologies are in order.
How does that work? I mean, I saw you die.
Princess of Leaves is an emissary of Sen. She was destined to take over from her mother, Queen of Seasons, to be the new queen, to change the seasons when Andake, well, you know. She was basically grounded to here, and needed a vessel to get her back to the after, more or less. She couldn't go back there herself, so she figured she could take a ride on someone else's soul, and in exchange offer them power. My mother told me these stories of how this warlock and her patron, the Princess of Leaves, would go around the world pulling pranks, and she'd learn magic, and she always said it happened years ago, but she never said it happened to her. So, as far as I can tell, I have more than one person inside of me. It's the only way I can think that the princess could have gotten to me.
Interesting choice of vessel. The pranking doesn't sound so much like you.
Well,
You
one
planning on
second.
doing more of that?
Oh, no. Well, I haven't been able to talk to her since... Was it? We were on our way back to the doctor's, and we had a brief conversation, but I haven't been able to talk to her since. Speaking of which, and the stories my mum told me, she always said that the more her power grew, the more she was able to talk to the princess. And you can cast magic, right?
Close enough.
Did you teach me? V's tried, but, well, her power comes from her heritage and not from, well...
I could show you the mechanics of it, maybe. But warlock stuff, you'll have to try and talk to the princess about that.
Well, I've been trying, and I thought that if I could use magic, then maybe she'd be able to talk to me.
Like something I could figure out. Maybe once we get to our destination.
Maybe.
Okay.
Thanks for the advice, Dewey.
Okay. You wrap up dinner on that the promise of a magic lesson. And then do the 4 of you stop there for the night and take another long rest, or are you going to push on toward green open water?
Manaya, it looks on the map like we could probably get there tonight. We'd be on the water in the dark, but I'd have your back.
I kind of know not to think about what we're gonna see. Plus, we don't even know if they're there. We need all the time we can get to actually figure anything out.
Cool. So is the plan to forge onward?
I think the plan is to stop for the night.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Okay. So the 4 of you stop at this, there's like a village where you broke for a dinner, very similar to the village last night. And is there anything you do before you take a long rest?
Naya burns another leaf, meditates some more. Other than that, I think she's done every night.
Okay. What about the rest of you?
V is gonna be V's like super nervous towards Rev, but like very up, like just keeps watching Rev wherever she goes. V is aware of it,
Okay.
but doesn't do anything. Still trying to figure out her life.
Figure out where you stand. Yeah. Rev treats you like normal. You know, she seems to be warming up a little bit to your party, but still is pretty standoffish. Like she gets her own room from the innkeep. Oka, Dewey?
Dewey's trying to figure that shit out. Trying to deduce the nature of this weird vibe that they've got.
I'm not sure how far you get. Oka?
Yeah.
Oka stares at a post office yet again and does not go inside.
Sounds good. All right, the 4 of you are
Mood.
disasters. Okay, so the 4 of you tuck in for the night, and yeah, same thing happens. You get the same nightmare on those like uncomfortable, kind of like almost like itchy, like river grass beds that you're sleeping on. So your nightmares are maybe shot through by uneasy prickling sensations all up and down your body, and you wake up bright and early at 8 a.m. exactly the next day. Oka, you looked like you wanted to say or do something.
Oh, I just wanted to bitch about how fucking horrible it is that we have to wake up at. So can't we just? And Oka like pulls their bedroll up over their head and refuses to move for 15 minutes.
Okay. Oka, you throw your tantrum. And after you've done throwing your tantrum, did the rest of you do anything before we set out again on Mosscrawler?
Nah.
Okay, sounds good. So the 5 of you, including Rev, get back on Mosscrawler, and you sail down the Black Tongue. As you sail down this river, the waves begin to get just slightly a little bit choppier. And the river seems to widen up just a little bit more. And the trees on the banks on either side, the bank on the far side is like kind of all the way in the distance. That's how wide like the river gets. It becomes like pretty dang big, like at the widest points of the Mississippi. Think a little bit. And the smell of the river gets stronger and brinier, and you see more boats, more canoes, even like ships, like I mentioned earlier, traveling up and down this river. And as 8 a.m. turns to 9 a.m. and starts to approach like noon, all 4 of you sort of see and hear like Rev stiffen up a little bit. Get ready, and she goes, We're getting close. Anyone have any questions before we get there?
Fucking plenty. But I don't know what Mosscrawler here is going to help us figure out. Manaya, whatever you need, just tell us.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. So on that, basically the Black Tongue, the terminus of it opens into the Sigourney Sea. at the very end of the Court of Ravens, like at the tip of the peninsula, if you think of it as a peninsula. And where river meets sea, in that delta, is nestled green, open water. On either side of the river, it is a town bisected by the Black Tongue. And this is the first time you encounter a bridge. There's like a very big bridge, sort of like the ones that can open at the top, to let really big ships through, like into a canal. There's a huge bridge. It looks to be made of, you see it in the distance now, and then you see beyond the Black Tongue, the Sigourney Sea, just the glittering open ocean. And sort of like in the light and with the trees nearby, the ocean looks green. It looks tinted. Green open water is sort of how it appears. You see a huge bridge made of wood and like rope pulleys that sort of like seem to allow it to go up on you. And you see like metal, almost like, you see it actually, let's see it in action. We see it like open up as a big ship comes into port. But there's something kind of wrong with this ship. And even from your distance, you can sort of hear some shouting from it. The ship looks like half of it has been like just completely destroyed. And there's like sailors on top of it who are like waving frantically. And they're trying to guide the ship to like a bank. And you see a bunch of like people in the distance, like dots, like ants, on a map, like swarming the shore, like trying to help guide the ship into port without it like losing control and crashing into the harbor. And you see like the back of the ship, the chunk that's been taken out of it, like a big monster just took a big bite out of the side of the ship, is like smoking a little, But yeah, you see the bridge open. And as it opens, even from where you are, maybe like 300, 400, 500 feet down the river, you hear the hissing and the steaming of hydraulics that seem to be powering it, like steam powered almost, like. And this would be very familiar to you, Manaya, because this is sort of like what powers a lot of technology in Hanahi. Somehow managed to get its way to the port town here, green open water. Here it is. Rev just goes, I've been hearing of more monster attacks and unnatural phenomena on the ocean.
Check out their steering rudder.
Yeah, I hope they don't crash into the harbor. All right, this is it, green open water. It's the biggest village for miles.
Are you sure they don't need our help? Dewey, you and I could fly up and over, help guide them in.
They've got the sails out. They'll be all right. The wind's right. It'll be a rough docking, but they'll be all right. I don't know if it doesn't look like they've got the anchor anymore.
Yeah, it is one fucked up ship. But as you watch, like the ship seems to like come a little bit into port. There's like a big groaning of wood against the metal, against wood, against rope as it smashes a little bit and destroys like a couple of like docks, and it like grounds itself, and then it sort of tips over onto the shore, and there's like shouting and like the smoke sort of billows up from that hole. But no one seems to be immediately dead from what you can tell. It just seems like kind of a violent smashing of the ship into the harbor.
I've had nights like that too.
I've had days like that.
This is why I don't go onto the water.
Oh, but the smell and the freedom of the open water.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me you don't feel it.
I prefer the freedom of wide open ground that I can stand firmly on.
Okay. Okay, did you want to say something? Okay. So on that, Rev sort of gestures to the, let's say she's like, let's let that harbor take care of that ship. Let's dock on the north side. Like gesturing on the other side of the bank. The side of the river bank that you're closer to. And as like Rev starts like gesturing, like pointing at the docks, you notice that even though this is definitely the largest village you've come across so far, but aside from the big bridge, there still don't seem to be that many buildings. A quick look, you can estimate maybe 100 people live here. And
on
like
this side or like across both of them?
Across both, probably. Maybe only 100 people. And a lot of the people, seem to be like travelers using this port. So I'm not counting the transients as part. Maybe like if you include the travelers, there's probably another 100. But like the people who live here, probably only 100. 50 on each side, let's say. And as you look at the buildings, you notice a lot of them seem to maybe be used for storage. You know, they don't seem to be like residential.
Have I been here before?
I will let you decide.
I think she has. I think she's taken at least 1 or 2 trips to the court, especially given what went on around here.
Okay. I'm not sure how long you would have like stayed for. Maybe like a few days.
Yeah, no, it'd be
you
like
know?
a day
Yeah,
at
sure.
most.
Totally. So here she is, green open water. Rev helps you dock Mosscrawler against like a harbor. Like a dockmaster comes out and helps like move the canoe in, and Rev tosses the dockmaster a couple of coins to like keep the canoe in like a secured location. And yeah, over here like the ground is pliant and muddy, but this is the most stable ground in the core that you've seen so far. Like it's still kind of muddy, and it'd be best to have like rubber boots on or galoshes. But there's no like river running through the town itself. It's just the town is bisected by the Black Tongue. And there's like big trees that sort of like, you know, interspersed all over the settlement. And you see like buildings and shacks and huts are sort of built against the shade of these trees.
Manaya's smiling and daydreaming just a little bit.
Yeah.
Shall we take our break right now, since it's time for that, and we can figure out what we're gonna do next? Maybe?
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. So why don't you, can you mute yourself again? Cool. Great. We will be back in 10 minutes. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope y'all liked V's Gay Panic. We will see you in 10 minutes. That's 4:17 here. Enjoy the tunes while we are gone, and we will be back in 10. Love you all. See you all soon.
From a witch who was born of many gender. I learned to see a light. I learned to watch it glitter. I learned a secret from the light. I learned to watch it dancing. I learned to swallow light to illuminate my darkness. I learned to feel love when I look upon my dark things. I learned this from a witch who was born of many gender. I learned to see a light. I learned to watch it glitter. I learned a secret from the light. I learned to watch it dancing. I learned to swallow light to illuminate my darkness. I learned to feel love when I look upon my dark things. I learned this from a witch who was born of many gender. I learned to see a light. I learned to watch it glitter. I learned a secret from the light. I learned to watch it dancing. suffocating, sensual, terrifying. I want my sex like I want my death to be. All struck in beauty, take me in my body. Diamond Dash girl, lay me in my glamour tomb. If that should take me, still be VIP. Take my body one more time, my last breath can be yours to keep, yours to keep, yours to keep. Diamond Dash girl, lay me in my glamour tomb. If that should take me, still be VIP. Take my body one more time, my last breath can be yours to keep, yours to keep, yours to keep.
Welcome back, everybody. It is so great to see all of your non-existent, lovely digital faces in chat. As a reminder, my name is Connie. I'm the GM here. This is the second half of episode 6 of Arc 2 of our all transgender person of color led campaign. So some content warnings as a reminder when we come back. This episode and this entire campaign may include self-harm, suicide, fantasy violence, death of loved ones, emotional trauma and baggage, cults and cult-like behavior, anxiety and panic attacks described in detail, poverty and classism, a refugee crisis, natural disasters, and economic injustice. Is there anything I'm missing? Oh, for this particular part of the arc, gaslighting and memory loss are also content warnings. Okay. Just as a reminder for our safety tools, we have the X card for us to stop a scene and talk about stuff and figure out a way forward. Okay. So with that out of the way, let's come back to green open water. The four of you hear the squelch of wood against mud as Mosscrawler is hauled onto shore by a single able dockhand comes forward to help you. Like a strapping young woman, probably in her teens, you see. And she comes forward, she's but it's Mosscrawler is way too much for her single self to do. So as the four of you come out, do y'all help her move Mosscrawler to like an area? Okay. Are all of you helping, or just the buff ones in our party? Okay, Manaya and Oka definitely. Dewey and V, do your skinny arms hang back?
Dewey's holding the rope.
You're like, I'm helping.
Typically, Mage Hand is in the back of the boat, just like trying to push it forward.
Right, you're 10 pounds of force. You can help with Mage Hand. Okay. Yeah,
That's better than my strength stat, okay?
Sure. As you sort of struggle toward the area, let's say you see like a couple like canoes, like the 90% of them are probably for travelers. They don't seem to be in the style of the court, such as your canoe sort of painted black. Yes, Manaya.
Before we leave the deck, I wanted to ask the deckhand something.
Of course, yes. She's struggling with it a little bit, and she actually turns to you, and before you can ask her a question, she goes, "Thank you so much for helping me. It's hard. I mean, I'm the only deckhand on this side of the shore."
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been like this my whole life.
Hmm.
Manaya,
I can imagine.
that's a little odd. I think. When was the last time you were here at the court?
It's been a couple years.
Couple
Maybe
years?
2 years? 2
2
years.
years? Okay. 2 years ago, there were definitely more dockhands. This is a little odd that she's the only one on this entire side of the shore. And as she sort of struggles it over to like where all the canoes are being kept, she goes, "Yeah, honestly, it's really hard, but we just don't have enough folks."
Mm. I know it doesn't mean much, but I'd stay and help if I could. Speaking of deckhands, do you know where I might find your what are they called?
A dockmaster, maybe? Who are you looking for?
I'm looking for the archives where they keep all of the like here's what comes in and out of port. The-
Records, maybe? Harbor
Sure.
records, let's say?
Harbor records, yeah. Do you know I might find your harbor records or someone who might be able to point me to them?
Oh, of course. That's got to be the harbor master on the north side, right here. We've got one on
Okay.
the south side, too. But, ooh, looks like a big ship crashed in. She might be kind of busy. But yeah, is there
That'd be all right.
is there a reason? They're usually kept under, like, lock and key.
Oh, I'm a sailor, former merchant from the Hanahi,
Mhm.
under Captain Lahahana. And with everything that's been going on, we haven't been able to get anyone here, but I'm looking for information on a shipment that probably didn't get here. We're not sure.
Okay, yeah. Well, Miss Weave Shifter's the one you want to talk about here on the south side. She should be
Weave Shifter.
in the dockhouse, actually. That's where she keeps all the
All right.
records, too. Yeah, it's
Yes,
just been
thank you.
me. It's just been the two of us here our whole lives, really. Working the docks here. It's really hard.
Weave shifter, was it?
Yes,
that
Miss
a
Weave
character?
Shifter. Like the weave and then like a shifter. Yeah. If that helps.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you for your help. I wish you all the best, and good luck. Because it looks like you've got another couple of larger ones coming in.
Oh, yeah, okay. You know, at this point, I just tell them to bring their own ships in, and they don't have to pay us a fee if they do that. I try to help with the small ones, though. All right, I'll be there in a moment. And this young person sort of runs off, like huffing and puffing, to the next, to further down the harbor to help with like the next people coming in.
Hey, no offense. Maybe as we're walking. Okay, kind of goes. Hey, no offense, Rev, but where the fuck is everyone? This is like a veritable ghost town. I've seen more people in a single bar in the Badlands.
So, I might have to retcon something, which is Manaya.
Mhm.
I need to retcon that when you were here, there were a lot of people. There actually weren't.
Okay.
You remember,
Okay.
like, it's this is how it's always been, sort of.
Mhm, mhm.
And maybe it's because, like, the court is just kind of short on people, you know, like, all the time. So that's the one small detail I have to retcon. Okay, this is odd to you, though, because you're not from here. And Rev just sort of looks at you. And Manaya, this isn't news to you when Rev says, "It's always kind of been like this."
Don't need a whole lot of people here just to bring in and send off ships.
Exactly.
Most ships are going farther into the court.
Right, and all those buildings, and she gestures toward the buildings in the back that look, you know, upon closer inspection, you figure they're maybe like not residential because they look a little run down, almost. Yeah, I just always assumed those were used for storage instead of for like people to live in.
Okay. But it's been this way in every single town we've been in so far. Where the hell are the denizens of the court? Like, it's just been alligators. I've seen more alligators than I have other people.
Oh, there just aren't any people. There's just the court has the smallest population of any nation in Andake, first of all. those little villages, those little hamlets are where you would find the most people, and Green Open Water is no exception. There's just more of an operation here, let's say, because goods still have to come in and out.
Can I roll history or insight maybe to see if she's lying? Or
Yeah.
if I understand something different?
What would you like to roll first? Insight to see if Rev's lying? Or history on what you know of the court? Okay, yeah, so why don't you roll insight? I don't like insight.
Actually, history, excuse me.
Yeah, history on the court to see if what she's saying matches up with what you know. Go for it.
That's right, Bubba. Move your tab.
Okay, while this is happening, do the four of you head toward the dockmaster's, the harbor master's house of the south side? Or do you, like, move around to try to, like, investigate the rest of this area?
No, I'm assuming the bridge has come down at this point, so cross the bridge.
You're gonna, oh, okay. So just to clarify, there seems to be two different harbor masters. One for this side of the bank, yep, and one for the other side. Yeah. And the harbor
Then we'll
master
go
on
for the
this
north side ones.
Great.
Yeah.
So away from here, toward the north side?
We're on the
sorry.
north side.
We're on the, yeah, exactly. I'm so sorry. My mistake. Yeah, we're on the north
That's all right.
side.
That's all right.
Cool. I got my north and south mixed up. Okay. Yeah. So you head toward the house that this young person, this like 17-year-old kid, had gestured toward, and it looks a little like, it also looks a little rundown. Maybe because there's only like two people taking care of it, and it's a fairly large building, actually, sort of like up on stilts overlooking the water. And there's like a ramp that leads up to like a front porch that like allows you to go in. So as the five of you make your way up, Oka, what did you get for your history check?
Only a handsome 13.
With a gentleman's 13, Oka, based on what you know of the court, yeah. I mean, what Rev said is true. The Court of Ravens does have the smallest population of every nation in Andake, but not by like that much, you know? The other villages that you've stopped at, like that first night at the beginning of the session and sort of in the middle of the session when you broke for dinner, they seem to have more people in those villages than here. It is odd, you know, and based on, let's say, your studies growing up, learning about the various, you know, ports and capitals of each nation, I feel like that's something you would have learned. Green Open Water has always been described as like a bustling harbor and a port of call.
Oka kind of like furrows their brow as Rev tells them this, though. But they're like, okay. And they stay quiet for now.
Okay.
Although it's bothering the fuck out of them.
Yeah, it's really weird. You're like, there's something kind of weird, but whatever, you know, maybe at this point. So the five of you, eventually, you make your way up the ramp to that front porch area, and you see there's like a rocking chair out front, and like a closed door, and some shaded windows, even though it's the middle of the day. What do the five of you do?
I was gonna go walk up and knock.
Okay, Manaya, you knock on the door. You notice that the door is kind of peeling a little, like the paint's peeling a bit, like it's in a kind of a state of disrepair, almost. And then you hear a muffled voice from behind go away, Trout. I'm having my afternoon whiskey.
My apologies, Miss Weaveshifter?
Oh, thank God there's afternoon whiskey.
There's like, you hear some like thumping from within, and then the door opens a crack, and you see like the oldest motherfucker you've ever seen in your life. Would give makes Lahaha to seem like she could jump up and click her heels together. You see a very, very, very old looking turtle. A woman. She's sort of hunched there. She's a soft shell turtle. And her face is kind of flattened a bit. It's got a lot of wrinkles, and she's very small. She's just sort of hunched over. At first you're like, where? And then you look down, and there she is. She's like leaning on a cane, and she's holding a glass of whiskey in her left hand, and it's filled to the top, like all the way to the top. And she narrows her eyes at you, says, "You're not Trout. All right, if you're travelers, Trout handles all the business. I don't want to be disturbed."
Of course, my apologies. Who do we ask about getting into the archives?
I am the archives.
All right. When will you next be free?
Ugh, Raven, bless us all. This one's polite, ain't she? Just tell me what you want and how much gold you can give me for what you want.
Okay. Manaya kneels down and pulls out her entire gold pouch and says, I have 155 gold. 7 years ago, a ship did not dock here. I need to know where it is.
She takes one look at all of your gold.
This is her parents.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
true.
important.
Okay. And Miss Weaveshifter puts down her whiskey on like a table that you can't see behind her. And she opens the door wide. Come on in, my best friends. That we're all friends here, aren't we? Come. And she sort of like she goes deeper into this building.
You know, something about this woman is rather familiar. Anyone else getting it? Anyone?
V, you see a flash
V-
of your future.
You're definitely not the only one.
V is definitely like, I cannot believe I would have at least no more than 40 gold pieces max would have got us inside.
She ushers you inside. It is a very dimly lit building that's got like cobwebs in the corner. It looks kind of dusty. The only place that isn't dusty is a trail, like like she's probably walked this path many times from like a nest in the corner to like a desk to the door, and then to like a whiskey cabinet in the back. Like there's like it cuts like a path, but the rest of it there's like a thick layer of dust on the ground. And you see a ramp that leads up to like the second floor. And she leans on her like big knobbled wooden cane as she goes over to like the desk. All right, so put the money down on the desk and tell me what information you were looking for again. 7 years ago? Well, you're lucky. I've been here my whole life.
7 years ago, right around. Crap! I need to remember the months. Dang it! Where's the
doc? You can just say
thing?
the first or the second month of the year. There are 8 months for now. First, second, third, fourth.
It's 8 months. It would have been around the third month, end of the third month.
All right. Well, 7 years ago, that's in the archives up on the second floor. Just give me a second. Don't touch anything. But hey, for that amount of gold, you can have some whiskey if you want. I'll be back.
No, I don't drink.
Oh, fuck yes.
Help yourself to the cabinet. Anything you want, except for the very highest shelf. And she starts hobbling toward like the ramp that leads up to the second floor. So in this silence, before she comes back with presumably some records from 7 years ago, what did the four of you do?
Reach for the top shelf.
Oh god.
Okay. What's funny is that the top shelf, and only the top shelf, has like a separate glass covering it that's locked.
All right, second highest one then.
Okay, you've got your choice of alcohol here.
I grab. No choice needed.
Brown liquor or white liquor?
Brown.
Okay, you grab some really nice bourbon. Okay, and there's some like dusty glasses underneath it as well.
Ew.
Do you grab a glass or do you just chug it straight?
I look at the glass and I'm like, ew.
You could probably like swab it out with your shirt or something.
Why? No reason to.
Okay, you grab a bourbon. How about the rest of you? Are you just waiting?
Manaya's tapping her leg and 2 hands on the table.
Yeah, very nervous. I hear you, Manaya. Okay.
V's looking at that pouch of gold.
That's been set on her like table. As you know, as you're looking at the pouch of gold, V, you also notice that there's like a journal there, just like on the desk, and like you see a handle, a fifth of whiskey on the desk, as well as like the tumbler that she'd set down. And it seemed like maybe the 5 of you had interrupted her writing the journal because it looked kind of haphazardly closed with a quill sort of set off to the side. V, I see that look on your face.
I mean, what if I just sort of open it to the front to see like what's the first date in the book? How old is this journal?
Okay, it looks like a nice like old leather bound journal. As you move to touch it, Rev goes, "What are you doing?"
I'm just admiring this finely made book. What craft went into this book? Don't you agree, Rev?
It's a diary. I recognize you can't read Raven's speech, but the words on the front say diary.
Well, this is true. I don't. This is why I have friends like you who can read things for me.
Are you still gonna open it? You can if you want.
Everyone seems like their old friend V is up to no good, so I'm just going to step away from the journal, from the bag of delicious gold that is way too much money for what we're here for.
Okay.
I mean, your parents are valuable, don't get me wrong, but this person would have given us what we want for half price. That's all. I'm closing my mouth now. Closing my mouth.
Suppose you wouldn't know much about valuing your family.
I just think we can get you your family and your gold, friend. That's all I'm saying.
V.
This is all out of character. This is all out of character.
Oh no! I was like in there. I was like, oh boy.
We're going there.
Comes at me.
I throws no shade.
Okay.
Only her player.
So yeah, V just shuts up after I could have got that for half price.
Okay. You hear a thunk, thunk, thunk as her cane comes back down the ramp, and you see her holding like a kind of like a thick file. She seems to be struggling with it a little, like under one fin, and she like starts like hobbling over to the desk, and she sets it down with a thump, and she goes, "Oh, excuse me," and she grabs the journal and stuffs it into like a drawer. And then she opens up the record, says, "All right, let's see. 7 years ago, 3rd month, end of it. Here, all of the comings ins and goings outs. Do you recognize your ship's name on any of these?" And Manaya.
Ocean's Thread.
Oh, right, you don't read Raven's speech.
I can't
Ocean's
read
Thread.
it.
Rev
I
steps
just need to know
forward.
where the ship is.
Sure. Rev steps forward to like help. You know, she like peers over your shoulder, or she tries to because you're taller than her, as well as like this old turtle like shell shoulder, soft shell shoulder. And then both Rev and the old turtle like go, and Miss Weaveshifter goes, "Here it is. Ocean's Thread. Ah, yes. It pulled into harbor at the end of the month, just like you said, about 7 years ago. And oh, there's a note I wrote to myself here. There was no one on board. Full of cargo, though. We still got the cargo we needed, but there was no one. Actually, yeah, now that I look at it, I do remember something like that. It was quite the oddest thing. Not a single living soul on deck. It was really hard for me and Trout to just pull all the cargo onto shore. Trout was so young back then, but still a hard worker."
No, this is wrong. The sailing route. Is it written down here?
Sure. As she flips to another page and says, "Let's see, Ocean's Thread. Yes, the route, it would have taken, well, it seems like it came from Uhanahi. And it would have taken, just a completely maritime voyage, no pit stops anywhere. Didn't stop by any other ports of call. It was a straight shot from, let's see, Awanui, all the way up north. Yeah, they sort of curved northwest, sort of did like a little crescent shape there, and then landed. Just sailed right in. Not a soul in sight. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure we still have the ship. Should be in the graveyard. I mean, I have no reason to stop you from looking at it. You know what? She leans in and says, "Screw it. Why not? Giving me all this gold, you can look through all the ships in the graveyard. That doesn't matter to me."
Graveyard, huh?
Yes. Well, that's just the colloquialism for what we call all the random ships and whatnot. Flotsam and jetsam that come into the port that we haven't had the heart or the manpower, frankly, to break down for scrap.
Sorry. 2 things. 1, which way to the graveyard? 2, we need a ship.
Oh. Well, the graveyard, I'm sure Trout could lead you. Here, let me draw you a map. I don't want to... These old bones, I don't want to get up. As she pulls out a piece of scrap paper and starts drawing you directions to where the graveyard might be.
Could we take that ship?
The Ocean's Thread? It's probably in quite a dilapidated state by now. We haven't been maintaining it for 7 years.
Look, okay, I could get it fixed up, but we don't have time, alright? Do you have a ship ready?
No. All the ships here are ships that come in and out from the port. We don't own any of them. You had a canoe, though, didn't you?
Yes, it's not ocean ready, though.
Where do you want to go that requires a ship?
I didn't come on the ship, right? The ship came into port. There was nobody on it, which means they're out there somewhere, okay?
Oh, I'm so sorry, young lady, but if you're looking for someone on that ship and they were lost at sea, I'm sorry, they're probably dead. By probably, I mean definitely. I mean, no one survives in the ocean for 7 years unless...
Hey, shut
I
it.
storms out of the room.
Okay. What's her problem?
What's your problem? Oka takes 2 more bottles off the shelf and follows.
Hey, I didn't say you could keep them! As you storm out. A V, Dewey?
Dewey goes after Manaya, like
Okay.
right away.
Totally.
V is gonna look at this turtle and be like, friend, this information only worth about 40 gold pieces. My friend is going through quite an ordeal, and if you gave me even like 20 gold back, it would mean the world to me.
So you're paying me and now you want what you offered back?
Well, let's just say that you didn't exactly help my friend find exactly what she was looking for, so I feel like a little bit of a refund is in order.
Roll persuasion. Let's see if you can get a refund.
Bonus on the persuasion. It is a gentleman's 13, unfortunately.
She sort of looks at you piteously and puts 5 gold in your palm. Now get out of here. An old woman's got to have her own simple pleasures.
Enjoy your new fortune, friend, and continuing your business. Have a good day.
Bye. And at that, Rev just sort of like bows a little at the waist and leaves. With behind you, V. Let's do Manaya, Oka, and Dewey a quick scene first, because the 3 of you left first. I think Manaya, you're storming out. Oka's right on your heels. What do you do?
She's just pacing back and forth, hands on her head, just like rambling. Nonsense.
I think Oka has kind of like just,
Inuhan.
Stopped, is like kind of just leaning back and like takes a big swig and just kind of like lets her pace it out for a minute.
Manaya, it's don't listen to her. I mean, weirder things have happened in the past.
The graveyard, right, let's go. And she starts walking off.
Okay. You have the map with you, like in your hand, right? Okay. As you walk off, do you like examine the map?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maybe she's gripping it like tightly. So
Totally.
it's all crumpled.
So the graveyard seems to be just as the woman described, like a graveyard for ships, but it seems to be like you have to take the river out into the ocean and then follow the shore from what appears to be maybe like a quarter of a mile, and then like a small like inlet goes in, and then there's sort of what appears to be like a pond or a lake. Like you could also get there on foot. You could just like cut across like straight, like due north, and then you'd reach there in like a couple minutes. You have to go past all like the old like abandoned buildings, basically. Cool. So that's where you're headed on foot. Sounds good. As the 3 of you storm off, V, the door closes behind you, and you see Manaya, Oka, and Dewey cutting a strong path toward those like old buildings. But before you can follow, you feel like a firm hand on your shoulder. And Rev just goes, V, there's something off about the records.
What did you see?
You see that her brow, like her usually like completely stoic face, is cut through with an expression of just pure confusion. Her like brows are knitted together. Her eyes are like sort of like glinting yellow as she's like thinking really hard. I don't really know how to describe it, but there's a column basically on the ledger that says the name of the ship, some notes at the very end about anything unusual about the shipment it carried, and of course the name of the person who signed in the ship, who was accounted for, who was there, basically the dockhand who was there when the ship came in. And for most of them, it was Chill Weave Shifter, which I assume was the woman we were talking to. But for the rest, I couldn't understand what I was seeing. it was just there were other names, V. There were other names for people who worked there. Names like Harvest, Cold, Ox. But
she
she
definitely
said she worked here alone.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't understand. So I
Something-
grabbed this. And she pulls out the journal. She pulls out a journal from the flap of her coat. And she hands it to you.
You are a woman after my own heart. But I don't read this language at all, but
Well, I can help you translate.
yeah, let's...
You wouldn't mind a little bit of personal tutoring, would you?
Not at all. Not at all, friend. V's voice gets higher and higher pitched.
Are you okay? You sound like you swallowed helium.
You know, honestly, I've been thinking a lot about that deal we sealed, and I'm not quite sure what to make of it.
Are you having regrets? And maybe
No.
maybe on that we go back to Manaya, Oka, and Dewey. Okay, at this point, the three of you have reached like the first cluster, let's say, of buildings. And as you look at them, upon even closer inspection, they don't seem to be like storage buildings. There are like windows, and you see like a little like potted plant that's been long dead out in front of one of them. These almost look like houses, like people's houses.
As Manaya is going forward, I think Oka, is, moving fast after her, and then kind of like pauses, and like slows down and stops, like takes another swig, and like keep making sure Manaya is within eye distance, but there is something wrong here. Could I use my Hunter's Bane to see if I know anything about what's happening right now?
Yeah, how does that work?
I just have advantage on intelligence checks to recall information about monsters.
Sounds good. You're like, is this the work of a monster? Roll intelligence to see if you can piece together the clues you've seen so far.
Only a 15.
Okay, a 15. There's definitely something going on with a 15. If this is the work of a monster or like some sort of like court conspiracy, it's you're not certain. You don't see like blood on the ground, and you don't like smell like monster scent anywhere, You don't see anything. Looking around, it just looks like a deserted village, but with that said, there is definitely something going on here. You're not quite sure. You're not clear on the cause yet. You don't see any evidence. You see nothing really, actually.
Okay. In that case, Oka kind of like stops and whistles real loud to try to get V and Rev's attention, and they call back, I don't think we should split up.
V is going to look at Rev one more time and like ask Rev, do you think it would be worth it to apply more heat to some of these people and to get answers, or do you think their memories are not worth searching for?
No, I think their memories are definitely worth searching. I don't know, V. Something just feels off about this place. Those names, I don't recognize them at all, but they're court names. I don't know. Do you think, she's old. Do you think she's maybe like a serial killer or something?
I mean, I could go into her mind and just check real quick.
It looks like Oka's trying to call us over.
V. Yeah, let us go meet our friends back up, and I think V is going to very quickly like also fill Oka in on what they've been talking about.
Okay, V and Rev catch up to Oka, Dewey, and Manaya, And V tells y'all everything that Rev told V. And the journal is in V's hand. And as you're standing there, maybe in front of like one of the first houses, Rev goes, hold on. And she steps forward and she wipes like some dust, some grime off of a placard, and says, that name, it matches. It matches one of the names of the dockhands in the journal.
Is Mania's like, are you still like,
booking it? She's picked up the pace. She's running.
Okay. What did the rest of you do?
Oka, do you think, would it be worth me and Rev searching this place real quick and meeting you all quick at the next place?
Oka kind of like sucks their teeth real quick, like going like Mania V, and then they kind of like they grab Rev, like the front of Rev's shirt. If she gets hurt, I will fucking kill you. And then Oka like kind of nods at V real quick. Also, don't die. And Oka hurries off after Mania.
What about you, Dewey?
Dewey also takes like a side glance at Rev, but Mania's running off by herself, so he's going as fast as he can to keep up with her, just like searching, scanning along the way.
Okay, sounds good. So Oka, Mania, and Dewey, the three of you set off toward, I'm assuming, the ship graveyard. Cool. While Rev and V stay behind to like figure out what the hell's going on back here. So let's go to Mania, Oka, and Dewey first. So the three of you set off, you're running past these like dilapidated, like the farther, they seem like in various stages of like decay and like disuse. And like, some of them seem like slightly newer, but just like abandoned. Others are just barely standing. They're just like, they seem to be have weathered down by like storms and like just disrepair and disuse, you know. And yeah, as the three of you continue like moving, do you say anything to each other?
Mania's muttering a Nuhan, but other than that, she doesn't speak.
Yeah, Oka is just on Mania's flank. Like, they understand intrinsically, in a way, what is happening to her right now. And they just need to watch her back. And that's what they're doing.
Okay, sounds good. Dewey?
Dewey is also like trailing behind them, he slows down every now and then to like look at one of the buildings a little closer, but then always catches back up.
Yeah, Dewey, as you're trailing behind to like peer at some of the buildings, maybe you like glance through like a shattered window of one, and you see like what seems to be like a dinner set out, but very like moldy. You see like moldy bread, like a half-eaten, apple, and you see what looks like maybe like a dried red substance on the ground, but then you're still moving.
Yeah, I move faster.
Okay, sounds good. V. You stay behind with Rev. What do you do?
First, gonna walk straight up to the door to the house that Rev was pointing out, and I'm just gonna go ahead and give a big old loud 3 knocks on the door.
Didn't you already get what you wanted from me?
I'm sorry, friend. I'm not quite sure who's in here, but I'm just trying to find out some information. If you could just open your door for a few moments.
I did hear the clunk, clunk, clunk. The door cracks open, and you see Miss Weaveshifter, this tiny turtle woman. Because you went back to the harbor house, right? Oh, my apologies. I thought you did. Oh, okay, then we have to retcon that. I misheard what you said. Which house are you going to?
Whichever one's the first one that Rev was like,
okay.
This is the name.
Sounds good. Let's say the name Rev translates for you cuts out to be let's see, like the Cloud Cry residence. She translates to you. You knock on the door. There's no answer.
I'm gonna try to open the door.
Okay. You open it. It appears that maybe like the lock part has been broken. So you're able to just like sort of open it. Like there's been like sign of a forced entry. As you go in, You see just like an upturned table that's sort of like flung against the wall. You know, one of the legs has been snapped off. You see just like shattered, like the signs of like a fight or something happening here. And you see like old, like dried blood on the ground. And there's like some bedding in the back. And like a little like kind of dusty like child's toy that's like it's got some blood on it.
But there's no sign of any body.
There's no one here at all.
All right. And there's I don't know. I would V would investigate a little more, just see if there's any type of clues that would say who may have done this.
Yeah, that makes sense. Roll investigation.
That's a 19.
19. Okay, how are you investigating this scene? What are you focusing your energies on?
I think I'd want to look around the upturned table. You said like one of the legs was broken off.
Totally. Yeah, you examine that leg. It seems like with a 19, whatever fight happened here probably occurred like maybe like a couple weeks ago. Is my guess.
Okay.
Less than a month, but a couple weeks ago. And the blood looks like it's been dried. There's like a coppery tang in the air that feels like muted over with dust.
Okay. V's gonna go pick up you said there's like a doll?
Yes.
Can we X card that actually?
Sure.
The implications are
Sure.
on a line for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me just look at our lines and veils list one more time just to make sure.
Can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, harm to children and animals are lines in our document.
Oh, I see that. Yeah. Okay. Then never mind. Let's get rid of that.
Okay.
My apologies.
Yep. No worries. V's gonna turn back to Rev and be like, I think we need to have another conversation with our friend across the way about what went on here recently.
Yeah. This looks like the scene of a murder.
Yeah. And V just storms back to the Turtle's house.
As she follows you, though, like Rev is like, something about this still doesn't make sense. Why not cover their tracks? Travelers come in and out of the port all the time. And she follows you. Let's go back. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say that obviously who's ever done this still has considerable power over the rest of the people here.
She like nods slowly. She's like frowning, and she just keeps saying, something about this just isn't adding up. And we go now to Oka, Manaya, and Dewey. So the three of you, Dewey, have you tried to stop to like investigate any of the other houses, or are we going straight to the ship graveyard?
He saw what was in the first one that he looked into, and he's just trying to get away from it.
Okay. Do you tell Oka and Manaya what you saw?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, there's blood in one of those houses. I don't know what's going on here, but I don't like it.
Oka just kind of like nods at Dewey so that he knows that they heard him. Let's one step at a time. Hopefully the graveyard will have a few more answers for us about whatever the fuck is going on here.
Totally. Okay, the three of you arrive sort of, there's a bit of like forest or like tree area that you have to like cut through after like the residential area, let's say, ends. And there's like a little bit of like just like wilderness and like, yeah, like trees and mud and shrub and muck before you finally arrive at the graveyard. It is like a pond, let's say, smaller than a lake, bigger than a puddle, where you see just like shiplap, flotsam and jetsam, like all sorts of the bones of old deteriorated ships. Like moss has fully grown, like nature has reclaimed a lot of these ships. They're just sort of piled, like stacked, like sort of mashed together, and they sort of fill this entire area, almost like a tar pit where like old dinosaurs have like fallen into, but these are ships instead, in like varying stages of decay.
Manaya is a bit frantic right now.
Okay.
But she's scanning all of them
Okay.
to find the one that is closest to the the inlet to the ocean, that is also relatively close to seaworthy. That would only take a few repairs, maybe some boards here and there to fix up.
Okay. A lot of these ships are real fucked up. The one that you can see that is probably the least fucked up would probably take like a group of pretty sea knowledgeable people who know how to build and fix ships if you want to get it back in working order as soon as
So
possible.
like Manai.
Yeah, if there were maybe like 5 of you, you could probably get this one particular ship, and it's smaller, looks, maybe no bigger than a galley. It looks like maybe if there were 5 of you, you could fix this up in like a week or 2.
She goes right up to that one. She sizes it up. She's looking for like a carving of a name.
Yeah, this one is not the Ocean's Thread. This one has a name in Jukan. Do you read Jukan? Okay, then I don't know.
Very little, if any.
I don't think you know what it means.
Okay.
But it looks like maybe like a Jukan style ship too, kind of low to the ground, low to the sea.
Dewey
This
has
is fine. Oka, your hand. Sorry. Right. Manaya puts her hand right on their hand and compares the sizes, and it's like, right, close enough. Find any boards that are at least 4 hand widths wide, and bring them here. Right. Dewey, nails. Any top that's in any top. Right. I need it here. Let's go. And Manaya's gonna also similarly just like go off and try to find some wood that she can use to repair this galley.
Oka kind of gives a sidelong look at Dewey. Don't stray out of sight.
Oh yeah, I'm staying close to y'all.
Oh, nails, Dewey, nails. I forgot nails.
Okay.
Dewey actually has a helm of comprehend languages.
What don't you have, Dewey? What the
I have
fuck?
2 items. Okay,
Okay.
I have 2 items.
Dark vision and comprehend languages. Do you put it on like a nerd?
They're like reading glasses, basically. But
Okay,
they,
reading glasses. So you swap out your glasses.
yeah. And I want to look at the name of the ship.
Okay. The name of the ship translated as you swap out your glasses. You're already thick glasses for an even thicker pair, you absolute nerd. And the name is translated literally, I think, under your eyes. And it basically means, let's see. Fast run fox. I think instead of a galley, it's more like a sloop, like kind of sleek ship that can go fast. Yeah.
Okay.
Ship terms. Okay. So Manaya and Oka, you start grabbing scrap and shiplap, flotsam and jetsam, and you start to repair this ship. It's kind of it's slooped up against like the edge, the lip of the pond, and like half of it is like sunken into like muddy water.
Oka is doing what Manaya asks, but far more half-heartedly. They are more interested in trying to investigate, like, the nature of some of these wrecks, and similar to like what the hell was going on back in the town. Anything that could like, their mind is like going through like any knowledge that they might have about anything. I don't know if there's a role for any of that, or if they notice anything particularly that would stand out in this area.
Yeah, why don't you roll investigation as you're looking around visually, right? Dewey, are you doing anything extra after looking at the name of the sloop?
He goes to collecting nails, I guess.
Sounds good.
But if there's anything technical in these, like any metal parts that are left on these ships, he gets a little bit distracted.
Yeah, these ships are just filled with like junk, so there's probably scrap here that you could scavenge. Oka, what did you get?
15.
15. With a visual inspection looking around, there are maybe in total, you don't know how many ships have sunk, beneath the surface of this pond, of this graveyard, but on the surface and based on like the little bits of poles and masts sticking out and like bits of the ship still like visible, you surmise there are 15 to 20 ships that you can see, like in this pond in varying stages of disarray and decay. Because you're not familiar with the ocean's thread, I don't think you'd be able to pick it out of this crowd. Manaya, are you trying to look for your parents' ship?
She'll glance around every once in a while. She's more focused on getting a seafaring ship, and because the ocean's thread was there 7 years ago, it's likely too far in and or too far sunk down to be able to use.
Okay. So you don't want to roll investigation?
She'll glance around, but not like looking for it.
Okay, make a perception check in that case for me then.
Okay.
If it's just a cursory glance.
14.
Well, 14?
Mhm.
Okay. Oka, could you mute yourself? Well, thank you. Oka, you notice with your investigation check that a lot of these ships seem to have been wrecked by like natural causes. Like a lot of them just look really storm battered. You see scorching of like probably like lightning marks on a few of their masts, you know, in the snap. And others, you're not sure, maybe they ran aground. You know, you see like broken, crushed in hull, etc. But there are, you know, there's like one ship, and Manaya, your eye falls on it, that just looks mostly fine. Based on what you can see anyway. It's just a little tip of a mast, a top mast poking out. And Manaya, as your eye rests on it, that mast you recognize. Because tied around the top is sort of like a bandana or some sort of sash, similar to your kanga, that you would recognize as in the similar style as your mother. And you would recognize like the ocean's thread had like little embellishments like this on the ship to like make it your parents's.
Manaya swallows. And makes a mental note to grab that last.
Okay. Let's say, Dewey, are you trying to harvest scrap here?
A
As an
little bit,
artificer?
if it's convenient. Yeah.
Is that something you can, is that like a roll you can make to harvest scrap?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
I did.
cool.
I figured it wasn't interesting.
Great. We all just see Dewey like a little bird going to whatever's shiny, plucking at metal bits, nuts and whatnot. V, let's go back to you and Rev. So V, what do you do?
I'm gonna walk up to the door, and I'm actually gonna use detect thoughts in a way I haven't before, which is I can cast it and see if there is within 30 feet of me the presence of any other thoughts of any creatures around me. So, to my knowledge, there's only one turtle in that house. It goes through barriers except for like 2 feet of rock, 2 feet of metal, or thin sheets of lead.
What's the range on that?
30 feet.
30 feet. Okay. What does it look like as you're like casting the spell?
So I'm just gonna like get a little meditative. You'll see the diamond in my hand start to glow green, and then just if you were attuned to the weave, you would see like this circle just of green energy pop out and just encapsulate everything within 30 feet, where like everything just the thoughts become amplified as if, you know, people were talking in microphones.
But you can't hear their thoughts. You just know they're there, right?
Right. It just
Okay.
detects the presence of them.
Okay. And you focus. The first thought you detect is your own. And then you detect Rev right next to you. That's reassuring. She's got thoughts going on. She's not a complete thembo. And then you detect Miss Weave Shifter from inside. Just her. Just in there. Close to where probably she's still by like her desk. And you hear her like rummaging around, probably looking for her journal. And then, you know, your friends are definitely out of range by this point, like for sure out of range of this. But you detect, I think, very close behind you, like maybe standing only 5 to 10 feet behind you, behind Rev. 7 or 8 thoughts.
As
do you turn
coming
around?
from a singular, yeah, I'm gonna whip
they're
around.
sort of clustered together.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna whip around and look. Do I see anything?
No. What's wrong, V? Are you okay? You look a little paler than usual.
I'm hearing the thoughts of some new friends that I do not see with my eyes behind me here. Would someone like to reveal themselves, or do we have to get a little bit aggressive?
Rev whips around. She like pauses. Her like hand goes to her whip. Who's there? There's no response, really. Can you still feel them? Is this a concentration spell, V?
Let me using it this way, and let me see. It is a concentration for up to a minute. I can't detect a creature with an intelligence of 3 or lower,
Okay.
or that doesn't speak any language. Actually, I didn't read this final. Once you detect the presence of a creature in this way, you can read its thoughts for the rest of the duration as described above, even if you can't see it, but it must still be within range. So, the spell initially is I can just hear surface level thoughts, nothing too deep, and I can choose to go deeper, and then they have to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay, are you going to do that?
Might as well, right? I feel like I have
Okay.
to at this point.
You can just automatically detect surface level thoughts. You're going to train it on these like invisible, whatever, like 7 or 8 distinct
Yeah.
thoughts that are all sort of clustered together. Okay.
Well, I guess I have to select one of them to start with, and I
Okay.
can hop around.
Cool. So are you going to just pick one arbitrarily? They're sort of clustered. Have you ever seen like a hydrangea flower? Like with a bunch of like the little like petals?
Sure.
Sort of like
yeah.
that. It's in a bloom, almost like that. They're sort of clustered together like that. Like sort of like floating above in front of you, if that's sort of where it would be, like in space.
Mhm.
V, as soon as you turn around and Rev turns around, being like, show yourselves, you feel the thoughts begin to move, like away from you, headed toward the ship graveyard. They are moving very quickly. They will be out of range soon. So do you pick a particular cluster of thoughts and try to read the surface level and compel them to make a wisdom save?
I would actually like to break concentration to cast a wall of fire around them. And actually I will cast it so it will not harm who's inside of it. It would harm in a radius of 10 feet outside of it.
Okay. Outside of it, not inside of it?
Yeah,
Or
I'm not trying to harm the whatever I capture inside of it.
You just
I
want it to be
stop
captured.
them. Yeah.
Okay. So how does that work? Is that a dex save or?
If they're on the correct side of it, they don't have to do anything. It doesn't harm. One side of it harms and the other side does not. So I'm choosing that would only be what's outside of that would have to do a dex save
Okay.
or receive damage. So it's gonna be like 20 feet high, a foot in
Width,
thickness around them.
Okay. And forming a ring.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, okay, what's the DC on that?
Let's see. The DC is 14.
Okay. There's a pause as like your concentration snaps and you cast the spell. And neither of you hear like a scream of pain. You don't see anything or anyone busting through the wall of fire. The fire just like swirls up and begins to burn. Rev goes, whoa. That's what happens. And V, yeah, okay. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Excellent. 4.
Why did you cast that spell? Can't really remember. And I think we can end our session there. For whatever fuckery's going on in the Court of Ravens. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Begone thoughts. We will see you next week. That is February 20th, Saturday, at 3 p.m. U.S. Central Time for episode 7. Lucky number 7. Shit's getting heated. Shit's getting real. For Arc 2 of Transplanar RPG. We see you right here I have been your GM and executive producer. I am Connie. My pronouns are they, he, and she. You can find me on Twitter at @byconniechang and on Tumblr at @and Daddy Issues. I also run Transplanar RPGs Twitter. Please follow us there. I'm going to pass along introductions to Max.
Also, you can catch us here tomorrow for our special Valentine's Day Thirsty Sword Lesbians. If you didn't get enough of V and Rev, similar content to come tomorrow at
Very similar content.
what time?
4 p.m.
4 p.m.
Central.
Central Time. Yeah. I'm Max. I play Dewey. My pronouns are they, them. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Starchmonger. I'm going to pass it to C.
Hey all, my name is C. I played Oka in this today's episode, or did I? I can't remember exactly. Just kidding. My name is C. Is they, them pronouns. I'm a dancer, digital artist, and streamer here on Twitch. You can follow me on Twitch at pi_sharp. I just hit affiliate, which means that if you subscribe, you can have emotes on my channel, which is going to be cool and fun. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at pi_sharp_art or on Tumblr at pi-sharp. Yes, I'm sorry, I have 10,000 usernames. It's not my fault. It is my fault. It's totally my fault. There's 3, Max. There's 3. Anyhow, catch us tomorrow. I will be having my GM debut, so to speak, of Thirsty Sword Lesbians. I'm excited for all of us to have a good, lovely time. I'll pass things on to Devin.
Hello, everyone. My name's Devin. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on our Discord server. Join the Discord server. It's a great community. And you can't find me anywhere else unless you work really hard and read my thoughts. In which case, I'll make you forget.
Haha, no thoughts. Head empty.
Head empty. I'll pass it on to Erica.
Hi, I'm Erica, she, her pronouns, and I did play. Who did I play again? I forgot. All thoughts gone. Thoughts gone. V-Nox Scherzo. So you can find me anywhere I am at Erica Newgirl. If I am seeking to be found there, find me at Erica Newgirl and come check out me on my stream on Twitch February 19th, where we're raising some funds for Trans Lifeline, the hotline for trans people by trans peoples. Come check me out. And I will pass it on back to Connie.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. I'm so excited for next weekend. With that, we are going to sign off. We're going to raid. Let's see. We're going to raid all nerds here. They're also playing tabletop games. And they are doing a very, I think they're raising money for Raices, who stand for racial equality, I'm pretty sure. I think, yeah, a good cause. So let's go there. I'm going to start that raid. Tune in for that. They're great. Give them a follow. All nerds here. And with that, peace out. We love you all so much. We will see you tomorrow on Valentine's Day at 4 p.m. U.S. Central Time and next Saturday, the 20th at 3 p.m. U.S. Central Time. Peace out.